So you just got your TYREWATCHER X2 kit. This is a first time setup video. So first thing you do is put the mount on. You don't have to use this. If you just want to stick it on your dash directly on this, you can. We can mount the unit however you want, but this just allows you to have some angles available here and like mount on the windscreen or the dash. So put that in. Then the first thing you want to do is you want to grab a USB cable, plug it into your port on the side here, and plug this into whatever plug you have available to you. So you probably have a computer or like one for your phone lying around. Like plug that in and just give this a charge overnight so it has a full charge. Then once that's done, next step is to press and hold the middle button here. You have 3 buttons on top, plus, minus, and M. Press the middle button, it'll turn on. It'll also show you the firmware version at the start there. It said E2.4, and it's going to beep at the moment because it's saying, hey, there's an alarm for the paired sensors. So just push the middle button again. It'll stop it making that beeping sound. So it said E2.4, which should be up to date with the latest one. We have like another video here showing how to like update the firmware if like needed, so you can do that like later on as it's done wirelessly from your phone. So straight away we can see you should be seeing like how many sensors you have. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see the 2 back ones here on the car, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sensors on the caravan image. So this is a 12 sensor kit. So you should be like seeing however many zeros and tires that you have in your kit. Like that means that the sensor ID is paired to each one of these. So it's charged up, and like that's done. Now we're just going to go and screw the sensors onto our vehicle. So if you grab your manual, flick through to the page that has the pictures on them. You can see 6 sensor, 8 sensor, 10 sensor, and that's a 12 sensor one. So all it's telling you is what number goes where. So on the top of the sensors, they have like numbers. In the future, if you add extra to your kit and stuff, you can actually change these numbers around, but just for ease of use, 11 goes to the front left of the car, 12, 21, 22, 31, 32, and they go up like that. So you can either have like a look on the manual and see where they go, or if you've misplaced like the manual, you can actually press and hold down the minus button about 3 seconds, and it'll go to a screen here where it's on the front left tyre and it's saying like 11, and if you press the plus or minus buttons, it'll like go through all the different tyres and tell you what like numbers where. So 12, 21, so that just like helps you know if you have lost the manual, and you can just press and hold the minus button to get out of that screen. So you might not have your van available, and you might just be putting the sensors on the car, or your van and car might be apart because the van's parked up somewhere and you don't want to get it out. That's fine. You can still just go and screw the sensors on and you'll see the pressures come up. And if you just want to use it in the car, you can. So if you are just doing the car to start with, the quick disconnect and reconnect for the caravan or trailer is your plus button here. So press and hold for 3 seconds. It will disappear. Just reading your car at the moment. Press and hold again to connect the van back up. So that's what you do as well. Also, if you drop the van off or whatnot, if you're just using the car after you've parked up. So we're at the car, and so you just want to screw in each like sensor. So again, as I talked about earlier, you go for the number. Front left is ID 11. So you just want to screw off your valve. Screw on your lock nut. Screw the sensor on. And you should see on your screen here, this is what happens. So 36 PSI. It's come up on the front left. So you just want to go around and do that for every single one, and like make sure you're getting the reading come up. Exactly like I said before, you don't have to do the van if the van's parked up somewhere. You can just press and hold your like left hand button at the top here and drop the van off, and you can just do your car for now. Or if they are separate apart from each other, you can just screw them on just to make sure that they are picking up pressures, and then you've got it all set up for when you do actually hook it up. So then it's just a case of backing off to the lock nut and just like backing it up against the sensor there. And that's how you screw your sensor on. So you just go around and do that for each one, and like make sure you have a pressure showing. So that's all done. You should be getting pressures on all your tyres you have like hooked up, but here we're not, just because example video. But now the next thing we do suggest do is, if you do have the van hooked up, is just do like a range test. So just place this above your steering wheel on the dash and go to your furthest sensor. So this will probably be one of the back wheels on the van, and just unscrew the sensor and just put the sensor on top of that wheel, and then go back onto the dash and just, or you might be able to hear it if it's quiet enough. Just like make sure that like sensor has alarmed. So it should have gone from whatever the pressure in the tire was down to 0, and you'll be getting a red flashing light and it'll be beeping. So you just want to make sure that it is picking up the signal from the furthest van tire. If it's not picking up the signal, that means a repeater is needed, and that's just an extra bit that you need to hook to the positive and a negative, and it sits on the A-frame of your trailer, just a small waterproof black box. It varies on every model, so it could be interference, could be range, could be a steel canopy on a ute, it could be like there's like so many different variables, so that's why it pays the test, and repeater sometimes needed, but most of the time not. If you are driving along and you do see like 88 comes up as a pressure reading, that means it hasn't picked up a signal on that pressure check. So if it just comes up randomly once, that's okay. But if you see you getting like 88 all the time, again, that's a sign that a repeater is needed. So once that's all been done, the next thing to do is go into the menu and set your high and low pressures. So I'm just going to set our high and low pressures here. So you set by PSI and see how it's just by default. So that's what majority of people are going to be using. Just press the plus button here, and that goes to the first version of the menu. And if you keep pressing the plus button, you can see it's going to scroll through all the different options. So the P5 is what we're looking for here. So press the middle button, and you've now entered that menu. So if you press the plus or minus, you'll see it's taking me through the different tyres. So in the front, I can press the middle button again, and EN just means to enable the auto alarm, so that's on, so that's fine. The only time you turn that off is normally if you're using airbags, if you're reading airbags, because they can jump up and down in pressure and cause the auto alarms to go off. So press minus, and you press the middle button again, and you can see the high set at 48, so you can press plus or minus to change this. Press the middle button to set it. You can set your low, again press the middle button, and you can go to the next axle. Again, it's fine, middle button, high, low, again, high, low. So that one's set at 0 and 0, so basically the user alarms are off. And then all these ones are on the same, so high and low. Once that's done, you press on middle again, it's actually gone to the next menu, which is your temperature setting. So I click on that, and you can set that up and down to what max temperature you want. So that'll give you an alarm when it goes over that temperature. again, like middle button. Those are your two main things to set up at the start, and then you can press and hold the minus button here to exit the menu and go back to the main screen. So you've just set your manually user set high and low pressure alarms and high temp alarm. So if any of the tires go below or above these pressures or above that temperature, you're going to get an alarm and flashing. So those are the manual alarms, and then you also have the default auto alarms. So if there's a quick increase or decrease in pressure, you're going to get an auto alarm that's going to warn you. Or if there's a quick increase in temperature, again, you're going to get an auto alarm. So these alarms are by default are going to come on, so you don't have to worry about those. So mounting the unit's fairly self-explanatory. You can put it on your dash. You're going to have it tilted like that most likely, which is fine. The solar panel is big enough to still pick up the sun. Or if you don't even use the space, you can completely take off the base and just mount it direct on the dash like that. Or if you want to have it down lower, you can pull off the dash and have it out of the sun and just power it completely off the USB cable. If you want to mount it somewhere else and not use the solar panel. And then the last option is obviously mount it up top on your windscreen somewhere or down the bottom of your windscreen. So this is your windscreen mounting pad. Obviously stick onto that, clean the windscreen, stick it on, hold it for 30 seconds, and then it'll be mounted on your windscreen. And this is your dash pad. This is a reusable stick pad, so you just put it down, you put the unit onto it. You can actually take the unit back off and on this pad. You can also chop this pad down if you want it to be a bit smaller. And that's basically it. And then obviously once this is mounted, you can still remove the unit if you want to take the unit out, and this will stay there. So if you want to use this in multiple cars, you could just buy a second base plate.